Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Anna Buehrer. I am the Northeast Regional Literacy Consultant for Wisconsin Literacy. And welcome to the third session in our winter virtual conference. Beth is working with us behind the scenes, my counterpart in the Central Southwest region, and she will be monitoring our chat box and if you raise your hand. So everybody is being muted as you join the call. If anytime you have any questions for the panelists, please feel free to either type your question in the chat box or raise your hand and Beth will unmute you and you can ask your question. As Beth mentioned, she is recording this webinar and we will be putting it on our website. Initially, we will have it in a winter virtual conference section within our website, and then later on we'll move it into our general resources section. At the end of the webinar, we do have an evaluation that should pop up on your screen. I invite you all to please complete that evaluation. So let's go ahead and get started. We have together with us today a group of individuals who are working with W2 and literacy programs in our state. Our panelists are Alexandra Langer-Goddick from UMOS, Betsy Hansen from Literacy Green Bay, and Emily Askery from Forward Service Corporation. Alexandra Langer-Goddick is the Financial and Employment Planner Supervisor at UMOS for the past 21 years. UMOS is a nonprofit advocacy organization that provides programs and services which improve employment, education, and housing opportunities of underserved populations. Within the W2 program, UMOS provides services to the refugee population, single individuals, as well as families from Burma, Somalia, Congo, Iraq, to name a few. The refugee section of the W2 program has been under the direct supervision of Alexandra for 6 years. She works directly with Milwaukee VOLAGs, voluntary resettlement agencies, to help connect families to services. Emily Askery is the Assistant Program Coordinator at Forward Service Corporation. She works primarily with their W2, FSET, and refugee programs. She has been working with non-English speakers in W2 and FSET for about 7 years. And Betsy Hansen is the ELL Class Program Manager at Literacy Green Bay. She has been with Literacy Green Bay since 2009 and has held various positions before becoming the Class Program Manager in 2016. So I want to welcome all of our speakers, our presenters today. This is just an agenda of the webinar today. We're going to start with an overview of W2, then get an overview of literacy program partnerships from W2 literacy program partnerships with the literacy program perspective, then look at the partnership logistics with the W2 perspective, and then we'll have a time at the end for question and answers. But again, if you have any questions for the panelists as we go through the presentation, please feel free to ask them. I wanted to start just by showing you a map with an overview of where W2 providers are located in your state. Alexandra and Emily will give you a little bit more background into what W2 agencies are and what they do. But I just wanted to point out that we do have different providers who are contracted through the Department of Children and Families across the state to provide W2 services. And so depending on where you live or work within the state of Wisconsin, you may be working with a different provider. Emily and Alexandra represent 2 providers here in the state of Wisconsin. And if you want to see this map, you can look at Wisconsin Literacy's webpage. If you go to the resources, excuse me, not the resources, but the search bar within our website and just type in W2, it will bring you to this map. Okay, so what I'd like to do is we're going to start with Alexandra to talk a little bit about W2. So she's going to go over the questions you have here on your screen about what services learners typically use from UMOS, and how long does a learner typically stay with UMOS, and how long are learners on your caseload. So Alexandra, if you could go ahead and answer those questions.
Hello, my name is Alexandra Langer-Gaddick. I've been with UMOS for over 20 years, as Anna already said, and the services that UMOS usually provides to our job seekers is the employment services. Customers gain valuable work-related skills by participating in community service jobs. It helps their confidence and improves their chances of getting employed. In addition to employment skills services, we have also educational services like basic education, high school diploma, limited English proficiency classes, and Spanish GED classes. We also provide variety of training programs, career assessments, employment services, retention, referrals to other providers like medical providers. We provide case management services, provide customers with supportive services, transportation, clothing, vouchers. And as I mentioned at the beginning, and Anna as well, UMOS also is involved with the refugee population. We have refugee units that specifically manages the refugees, and we work closely with the resettlement agencies to make sure that all services are provided and refugees transition into their new country successfully. The caseload, it depends. How long does the learner stay on a caseload? It depends on the circumstances and the family. Some may need just a few weeks or months. Others may require more intensive services to overcome their barriers and become employable. And the third question, how long are learners on a caseload before they are referred to literacy services? Well, assessment is part of the initial intake process when someone applies for W2. We do educational assessments, career barriers. So for the educational part, we use tape testing. So it's really quickly we determine who needs literacy services. Some clients may test on the borderline between literacy and the basic education, but after a few weeks of attending classes, our teachers are able to determine if more intensive programs are needed. It is more difficult and challenging to determine with our English as a second language learners, and especially the ones that are illiterate in their own language. So that takes some more time.
Great. Thank you, Alexandra. So Emily, would you respond to those same questions, please?
Yes, so I think we offer pretty much all the same services as UMOS. Given that W2 is a state program, all of those services are available to anybody who's in a W2 program, regardless of where they are in the state. But some of the main ones that Alex mentioned are like volunteering or gaining some work experience. Here at FSC, we offer internal job skills training, which is done over like a go-to training similar to this, so that we're able to reach everybody in our service area, regardless of if they're in a big city or a small city. And we also work with technical colleges and literacy councils to help people with English language or GEDs. And then, as Alex mentioned, we also help with supportive services, so things that people might need while they're looking for a job and then once they get a job. And then just some other programs that are included in W2 that we offer are emergency assistance. So some people might come to us for help with rent or any other emergency that might arise from utilities. And then also we have a job access loan through the W-2 program if people need help with transportation once they find employment. I did a little research to find out how long people were on our caseload, and it looks like the average length that we're seeing people from when they enroll in W-2 to when they move to employment is between 3 to 4 months. And then people tend to stay on our caseload after they're working for up to a year. And then, as Alex mentioned too, when learners are referred over to literacy programs really depends on the situation. We do offer CADE tests here in our office. However, as most people would think, testing is not a popular activity that people want to do, so sometimes it's a challenge to get people to complete those, and so that can sometimes delay a referral, but with our English language learners, that's something that we try to get them connected with right away. Because W-2 is a time-limited program, we don't want to waste any time working on those English skills.
Great, thank you. And so Alex, I'm going to go to the next, we're going to go on to the next set of questions here. So how many clients does one caseworker have on their caseload, and how often do clients meet with their caseworker?
Okay, my turn.
Yes, Alex, please go ahead.
Okay, all right. So we average here in Milwaukee about 50 cases per worker, and we are required to meet with our customers every 30 to 45 days. That's pretty common.
And with FSC as well, we average between like 50 to 70 cases per caseworker. It really just depends on the area and kind of what that local labor market looks like. We also meet with clients at least once a month, but we encourage most case managers to do that sooner. So even if they're not physically having a meeting once a month, they're usually having contact weekly or bi-weekly with those clients, whether it's through phone or email. But they do like to stay in regular contact.
Okay. So now what I'd like to do is we're going to do a little poll here to kind of help our panelists know who is here on who's on the call with us. So I'd invite you to answer the question, rate your partnership with your local W-2, and after you indicate your response, hit submit. So most people have voted. We'll just give another moment here for the last responses to come in. And remember to hit submit after you choose your response. Okay, so here are our results. It looks like most of the responses have the literacy programs say that they have occasional referrals to the W-2 and vice versa. And then the next most popular response is that there is a formal active referral relationship with the W-2 provider. So that's great. We're looking at almost 80% of the people on this call have a 4 or a 5 on this. So what we're going to do now is we're going, so Robin's, here I'm going to bring up a question here. So Robin is asking, what would a formal active referral relationship look like? I can answer that from my experience. There are programs who might have a written memorandum of understanding with the W-2, their local W-2 organization that would say, this is the referral process, this is the information we're going to share with you, and this is what you are going to share with us. This is the procedure that our frontline staff has regarding contacting the literacy program, or this is what the frontline literacy program, what procedure they have to send information to the W-2 agency. There may be an agreement for sharing test scores, or an agreement for payment if there's some kind of voucher reimbursement that a literacy program might receive for a W-2 referral at their program. So we'll keep that in mind, that question, as Betsy and Alexandra and Emily go through and talk about what their partnership looks like. If you have some sort of formal agreement, please, with any programs, please share that as you go through. So now I would like to pass it over to Betsy to give us a literacy perspective on your referral process. So what information do you share? Hang on one moment, let me hide the poll. What information you share about your learners with the W-2 provider, and what information do they share with you? Betsy.
Okay. So for our referral process, majority of the referrals come from W-2 to Literacy Green Bay. With the questions we ask on our learner application, it is hard for us to determine who to refer to W-2 programming. Literacy Green Bay does do one-on-one consultations with our students, and if anything is revealed at that time where a staff member thinks W-2, this would be a great W-2 client, then we will refer them to W-2. But majority of our referrals do come from W-2 agency. We have a system in place. The caseworker will bring the student in, and then we will invoice the agency for registration fees. What information do we share with the learners with the W-2 provider? We share the learners' hours of attendance for the most part. Some students will bring us forms to sign, to fill out their hours, and to give our signature. Other times we will email the caseworker directly. And then what information do they share with us? When a learner exits our program, we always try to figure out the reason why they're leaving, but it is also very hard to do so. And the W-2 agency has been awesome in letting us know, hey, this learner got a job, they're going to exit classes at this time. So that has been really helpful to hear where our learners are going once they get their jobs. In what ways do our learners benefit from the partnership? The W-2 program really does encourage consistent attendance. We have also had the W-2 agency come and present to our classes to make the students aware of this wonderful, valuable community resource. And many of our students will figure out and learn about the W-2 agency that they didn't know, or they can refer a friend or family to the W-2 agency. And then the program benefits from having W-2 learners because the consistent attendance, we see a better outcome of gains, and we see students achieving that goal of obtaining that employment. And then challenges that you have faced in your W-2 literacy program partnership. There haven't been too many. It's been a really great time working with our W-2 agency here in Green Bay. But the only thing I have seen, once our learners obtain employment, they usually exit classes. And it doesn't mean that all of them who have left from W-2, but this is just a generalization in general, that we are now recently seeing students who have left our program, and it doesn't, they're not necessarily W-2, but who have left our classes are now returning to us because they did lose that job due to the lack of their English skills now. So we really want to see them continue with the employment and continue with classes. But otherwise, the partnership has been working really well.
Okay, thank you. So next, I'd like to move to you, Emily, if you could provide your perspective on the partnership.
Yeah, and I'm going to kind of take these questions out of order. But W-2 is an employment agency, but along with that, we're also a training agency. So we do want people to get like the education or the training that they need to be successful in employment. So obviously there's a direct correlation there with literacy councils who are providing English language classes, general literacy, and also GED classes, because having those skills is going to help our participants be able to earn more at work, which is going to then help them have a more self-sustaining life, which is what we want for them and what they want for themselves. But the challenge with this is, especially now with the local labor market the way that it is sometimes really hard to get people to want to slow down and focus on their education before moving to employment, because there's so many places that are hiring, people are changing, employers are changing their requirements. So some people are being more lenient on whether or not somebody has to have a GED or high school diploma, just because they need people to fill their open positions. So with that being said, it can be a struggle to get people to want to slow down and focus on their education now, because W-2 only pays $6.53 a month, and if they can go and get a job at $15 an hour without having literacy skills, you know, they want to do it. But in the long run, they're going to be stuck at that job, and they're not going to be able to advance without having those additional skills. So I think we sometimes see those people come back when they realize that they do need to focus on their education and literacy. So with that, I think literacy programs who want to partner with W-2, I think that the first step is to just reach out and see if you can come to a team meeting or take a tour of the facility. W-2 can be sort of a complicated program, but if you're able to sort of see how it works on the day-to-day, I think that would be a big benefit. You know, and understanding like why do teachers have to sign logs for W-2 and things like that. So I think that would be a great first step.
Okay, thank you, Emily. Alexandra, would you respond to those questions as well, please?
Okay. Well, let me just start with the challenges first, because I agree completely with Emily. People leave for jobs. Jobs are available, and in the long run, it doesn't pay out. I guess they do need the education to move forward, to be more successful. But I would also like to see in W-2 more emphasis put on education. The goal of W-2 is employment. Sometimes we don't enforce or emphasize the education as much as it should be. That's my feeling. The incentives are for getting a job, getting the benchmarks for employment, but not so much for the educational piece. So I would like to see a little bit of adjustment of policy and the requirements there. As far as the referral program or referral process, it's pretty much as Betsy said. When we determine that someone would benefit or needs literacy programming, we just make a call and schedule an appointment for the participant, share our test scores, and then we just share the attendance and the FEPS enforce attendance, because that's what clients get paid for. For each hour they attend, they get paid for. And the benefits, benefits are significant to the community as customers become more productive and participative members of community. And we feel they will engage in more active way in becoming self-sufficient.
Great, thank you. So we'll go on to our next set of questions. Oh, that was the last group of questions for you. So I'd just like to give each of the panelists, do any of you have anything that you would like to add? Okay, so if not, then I'd like to open up for any questions that you may have for the panelists now. And again, you can either raise your hand or feel free to type into the chat box. And while we wait for questions, I have a follow-up question for Emily. So because you work for Forward Service Corporation, and if we go back to the map here at the beginning, you can see Forward Service Corporation covers a very large part of the state from the southwest corner to the northeast. My question for you is, because we have a lot of members in those counties who might be working with different people, how would they find out who the appropriate person is to, how would a literacy program find out who the appropriate person is to contact at Forward Service Corporation?
Yeah, so there's two ways to do it. So DCF has a website where you can find out who the W-2 provider is by county. So it would be just like if you were looking to apply for W-2, the same way that they would direct you, and then that would give you the local contact information. And you could also do the same thing on our Forward Service Corporation website. You can look by county or by program to find out which contact you would want for whichever area you're looking for.
I have a quick question. So this is Beth from Wisconsin Literacy, and I, in fact, tried to do that today, and I just found the address of the site. I couldn't find who the person was or a contact.
On the FSC or the DHS website?
FSC.
Okay, it probably doesn't have a name on it, but it should, I would imagine it should have a phone number at least for it.
Okay, yeah, it did have a phone number. I was just wondering if there was a way to find a name.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I guess if you're looking for a specific person and you're not able to, like, get a hold of them through the general number, I would be happy to help. Because I don't know if we have a specific like list of the program coordinators in every area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
I pulled up the website. I'm going to mute you real quickly, Emily, so that we get rid of the echo. But I pulled up the website that I believe Emily was referencing as far as DCF. So if you type in DCF W-2, it'll take you to a page that says find your local W-2 agency. So you can look up a county. So let's look at Door County, and it will take you to, so here would be the phone number that you could start with. But then also I want to show you just that general map as well that we have on Wisconsin Literacy's website. If you come in just to wisconsinliteracy.org, and then we have this little search box over here. If you just type in W-2, you will find information on today's webinar right here, but then also here's the Workforce Development Toolkit, and inside of that, here is the map that we referenced from DCF as well. Does anyone have any questions? So what I'd like to say then at this point is just thank you to all of our panelists. We know that these relationships can be really confusing to navigate, but they are so important. It's great to have an efficient process in place for our learners so that they're not having to do the same thing or provide the same information for multiple people or being doing assessments at different locations. So the more that you can work together and make the experience better for our learners is important to work through. So again, thank you to Betsy, Alexandra, and Emily for being a part of this. And then to everybody who participated today, when you exit out of this webinar right now, something should pop up on your screen, an evaluation. So please fill that out. And we will have a copy of this recording on our website as well. So please feel free to share this with other people within your program. So thanks again, everybody.